Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. I'm in Outerly.ai. This is the primary tool I use to track ChatGPT mentions for my own business, but for my clients. Looking at the last 14 days again with ChatGPT. Let's click on Hourly SEO Service. I'm gonna go to responses. You're gonna see that my business has been featured now more often the past week compared to where it was previously, where I have all these yeses compared to all these nos before. If you click it in today, you're gonna see Team Blast is both featured somewhere within this description, but also featured on the right hand side as well for a trusted source. So let's go back into the section over here again. So a lot of no's, and now there's a lot of yeses. So what's changing? So I'm going to explain two things. One is the on-page changes that I've made, but also the second part is the off-page. So Outerly.ai, they have this section here. It's called Content Checker. I threw this in for my hourly page, and you're going to get three different benchmarks: static, first dynamic, readiness, and also structured data analysis. The main takeaway is that if you have a heavy JavaScript website, it's going to be much more difficult for ChatGPT to fully understand your business or your web pages. They gave you some tips on how to maybe defer JavaScript and everything else like that. But from my experience, a really good starting point is to have less JavaScript on a website. The more you have, the more complicated it's going to be for ChatGPT to fully understand. Next, you have also this readiness analysis available over here. So one of the things I always talk about is these key takeaways on my page. I put that on there. Actually, I'll even open up the page too so you guys can see it. So I've added in key takeaways. You can see if I scroll down just a little bit, we have this over here. I use ChatGPT and Copilot to kind of summarize the landing page and sort of look at what Outerly mentions that I should put in, and then I put that there. Other things that I do, go back to Outerly. I do a lot of content refreshes. So I remove unnecessary words like jargon. I add more external links to third-party sites that are more credible than TM Blast. And the big thing for me is design also needs to be very easy to understand and readable from a user experience, but also I think from a ChatGPT crawling perspective to fully understand the picture. So there's a lot of things you can do from an on-page perspective, but I think that's only half the battle. So next I go into Google. I put in my brand name, TM Blast, and then minus site colon HTTPS, and then tmblast.com. Now I already know this. I'm on several high quality directories like Saratoga.com. It makes sense because my business is in Saratoga, the Saratoga County, so it's going to be it needs to be on this particular directory to help with ChatGPT to understand that there's third party sites talking about my business. Of course, I'm on YouTube. That's probably how you guys are watching this. LinkedIn, and then I even have TrustIndex.io, and I'll open this up. I talk about this so much. TrustIndex.io is really important to pull in reviews from Google, but also third-party sites as well, like Yelp or Facebook or TripAdvisor. My clients who have a Google Play or Apple Play, reviews, we try to pull that in as well. You want to have as many sources talk about your brand, and also you want to embed it too onto your web page to kind of really help give ChatGPT more of an understanding of your brand, how other people talk about it. Let's go back and though into the search results. You can see here Design Rush and YouTube and other things as well. But it's really important when you take a step back and you think about from a ChatGPT perspective, you want to use Outerly.ai. So I'll go back into the tool. You want to make sure you're not having a heavy JavaScript website because ChatGPT does not like that. You want to make sure that you are adding key summaries to the top. You can even have like a table of contents, removing unnecessary words. What else to do as well is just to kind of go through it on a regular basis to kind of refresh the content anyway. My most important pages, I've noticed that kind of refreshing the page kind of like kickstarts again within ChatGPT. But the other part too is these third-party sites that mention your brand. If you are a brand new website, let's say like you're a headshot photographer and you only have your website that talks about your brand, it's gonna be a lot less likely that ChatGPT is gonna recommend you. It's gotta be like a very specific search. Instead, you need third-party sites like Facebook, Yelp, TrustIndex.io, third-party sites like Saratoga or Albany.com that really mention your brand. These are more signals than for ChatGPT to really use. But the reviews also is a big part as well. When ChatGPT is then looking for the brand sentiment score, and I'll go back into what I mean. Brand sentiment over here is the positivity of how often they're going to mention your brand. So for me, it's best fit for one-time SEO audit and good option for short-term projects. There are some neutral parts that I have that's actually really important because if I had a negative brand sentiment score, that's generally people don't leave great reviews or there's not a lot of reviews online. Instead, you want to be proactive, get the reviews, get third-party sites to mention your brand and your service, and that'd be picked up by ChatGPT as well. There's other things too that go into it more than simply just, kind of what I went over. But I think in main summary, if you're seeing something like this every day on ChatGPT, your brand is not mentioned, you have to kind of change your strategy. It's a little bit different from an SEO perspective. You got to really go in from a geo mindset and think about, third-party sites that need to be featured on, how to get potential more reviews. What can I do for my own webpage to make it a little bit easier for ChatGPT to understand and crawl? But I want to record this video because I'm seeing my business featured more often. Within there, I'm actually getting more leads around hourly SEO, and I think it's all because of this. Um, being mentioned more often in a positive manner really does help. So anyway, I hope this maybe sparks some ideas. I'll leave a link to outerly.ai. They have a great free demo section you can even try just to see how this might look for your business. But I think just getting that baseline and then understanding kind of where you're at and what you need to potentially change to be featured is really the most critical stuff you can do for ChatGPT Geo. Anyway, thanks for watching this video and stay tuned for the next one.